It is now 12 hours 3 in Guyana. You're listening to the Radio for the Difference. Of course, it is Kaieteur Radio. We will take a short break for your main newscast for today and, of course, return to the rebroadcast of the Glenn Law Show. I'm Kevin Smith.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Once again, I am Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
And in your headlines today, Guyana playing with danger if it opts out of CARICOM treaty obligations. Venezuela closely watching our respect for international agreements, according to Greenidge. Yellowtail project can inflict permanent damage to marine habitat. And according to a report, Orindu Block holding estimated 8.1 billion barrels of oil. Former Region 5 REO wanted by PAC. Committee seeks answers for financial irregularities. Brothers fearful after village bullies' violent attacks. Police to hand out more tickets for traffic violations as AG flags costly harassment of road users. And PSC blindly loyal to one political party, according to Timothy Jonas. Stay tuned to get the full details of these stories and more.
Nothing in life is free, but the MyDigiCell app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance, activate a Prime bundle, or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Burpees Bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the MyDigiCell app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel, better together.
And now for the news in detail. The debate regarding Guyana's local content law, which calls for locals to be given first consideration for employment and procurement opportunities in the oil sector, and whether such a provision is in harmony with obligations under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, continues to attract commentary. Attorney-at-law and PPPC parliamentarian Sanjeev Dattadin recently noted that Guyana can choose to opt out of treaty obligations that would allow for a hostile and uncontrollable takeover of the country's booming oil sector, particularly by Trinidadians. But upon noting these statements, advisor on borders and former Foreign Secretary Carl Greenidge categorically stated that he outrightly disagrees with Dattadin's perspective. Greenidge said one must understand that Guyana would be playing with danger if Dattadin's opt-out arguments are further perpetuated, believed, and worst yet, acted on by the government. He warned that Guyanese ought to be more cautious and strive to be informed when speaking on such matters, as the implications could be far-reaching. Greenidge also noted that the opting-out attitude has implications for the country's national interest, as well as its international standing, while adding that it can likely impact support from the international community for Guyana's case against Venezuela.
And we now tell you ExxonMobil's fourth project, the Yellowtail development, situated in the Stabroek Block, can result in permanent damage to the environment in which marine species dwell, which can cause them to migrate from Guyana's waters. This is highlighted in the environmental impact assessment prepared by Exxon's consultant, the Environmental Resources Management. According to the document, the project may result in permanent loss of benthic habitat offshore, stemming from the installation of equipment, among others, to support the company's operations. Benthic habitat refers to the ecosystem or place of dwelling for species on the seafloor or at the bottom of a body of water. In Guyana, our most popular benthic creatures are shrimp and crab. Other crustaceans and seaweeds that are valuable to the food chain may also be permanently disrupted, ERM warned in the Yellowtail EIA.
And moving on. Eco Atlantic Oil and Gas Limited, with respect to its Guyana asset, the main one being Orinduik Block, noted that the concession carries a best estimate of 8.1 billion barrels of unrisked oil and gas liquids, along with 6.8 billion cubic feet of gas. It was observed that 681 million barrels of oil and 544 billion cubic feet of gas are net to Eco. Colin Kinley, co-founder and chief operating officer of Eco Atlantic, noted that given the company's current strategy for increasing stakeholder asset base, it is focused solely on strategic acquisitions that can add material and near-term growth for the company. Importantly, Kinley said Eco's acquisitions and strategy to deliver mature drillable prospects in the near term is driven in part by the current heated energy market, the reduction of worldwide exploration, and the marked cycling it anticipates through energy transition in the coming years.
And in other stories, former Regional Executive Officer of Region 5, Ovid Morrison, is wanted by the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee to provide answers in relation to the financial irregularities found in the 2017 and 2018 audit reports. Morrison, who is said to have been out of the jurisdiction, was the REO for Region 5 under the previous APNU-AFC government. During the PAC meeting on Monday, it was noted that when the former REO was in place, there were issues over the misuse of budgeted funds for payment of staff, as well as prepayment for water and other services. Some $1.477 billion was budgeted for employment costs for a staff complement of 1,071. As of the 31st of December 2018, however, amounts totaling $1.474 billion were expended, which meant that there was an issue of over-budgeting for staff.
And now let's tell you, two brothers who reside at Defield Sophia are now living in fear after near-death encounters with a bully in their community. One of them, 20-year-old Mawanza Clark, was on Wednesday afternoon almost shot to the head at close range by the bully, identified only as Omari. Realizing that it was a life-and-death situation, he managed to relieve his attacker of his gun and gave him a sound thrashing before running all the way to the Turkine police station. The incident was related to us by Clark's elder brother, Anthony Clark, who was almost stabbed to death by the same individual some 2 weeks ago. Omari, the bully, was later arrested by police ranks and taken into custody. It is unclear if the suspect is still in custody. In the meantime, the brothers are fearful for their lives since this is not the first time the suspect has attempted to kill one of them. In fact, on the day that Clark was attacked with the gun, it is alleged that the suspect was also looking to end Anthony's life as well. The bully is said to be the leader of a gang. Anthony is pleading with law enforcement to assist him, since, according to him, it seems that the suspect will not stop until he kills them. The time has now moved on to 12 hours 12 in Guyana. We will take a short break and return with more news.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
And we now return with more news in detail. Chairman of ANUG and Attorney-at-Law Mr. Timothy Jonas has criticized the Private Sector Commission, headed by Mr. Paul Chung, for being politically aligned. Recently, the President Irfan Ali-led government lashed out at a group of civil society organizations, which in a statement to the media concluded that the government was out of control, accusing it of operating with impunity while noting that the bewildering pace and range of official decision-making is rendering the administration accountable to no one and generating a widely felt dilemma of who to trust and what to believe. In arguing his case, Jonas said that the party questions civil society bodies where their voices were while alleged riggers were trying to steal the leadership of a country during the last elections. However, Jonas said the silence of those groups does not mean they are impartial.
And now let's tell you, the Guyana Police Force will be stepping up its efforts to minimize the incidents of police harassment of road users. This comes days after Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlal spoke of how police misconduct and harassment on the roadways has been costing the state. Deputy Communications Director attached to the force, Stan Gavaya, explained that the steps are being taken for senior officers to ensure that the traffic ranks are equipped with their ticket books when they leave the stations for duty. According to Gavaya, the ticketing system is already in place. It just needs to be enforced. Nandlal explained that the incidents of police stopping people and detaining them without cause is a violation of the constitutional rights of the citizens.
And moving on, Guyana has been urged to ensure the employment of scientific research in policy making to ensure a meaningful balance between the environment and oil production development here. With insufficient research, a report from the Global Fishing Watch has stated that it would be difficult to project the impacts of human activity in Guyana's marine space. The website recently featured Hanan Lachmansingh, a volunteer for the Guyana Marine Conservation Society, who pointed out that transparent policy, clear and actionable data, and significant analysis are needed to ensure a balance can be reached between oil wealth and a fragile ocean. Lachmansingh said in her February report that while Guyana is poised to undergo significant economic growth, the effects of this growth go beyond the immediate marine environment surrounding offshore drilling. Despite these concerns, she said there has been little research and investment in Guyana's marine environment due to a lack of awareness and resources.
And now let's tell you, a 28-year-old man who was arrested for the murder of a GDF medic was stabbed to death during a brawl at his sister's wedding last Sunday, was on Monday remanded to prison. The defendant, Nizam Prasad, a mason of Good Hope squatting area, East Coast Damarara, appeared at the Vigilance Magistrates Court before Senior Magistrate Fabaya Azor, where the capital charge of murder was read to him. Prasad was not required to plead to the charge, which alleged that on March 13th at Lot 143, Phase 2 Good Hope, he murdered 30-year-old Shafez Mangal. Magistrate Azor remanded the young man to prison, and the matter was adjourned to May 13th for statements. It was reported that on the night of March 13th, the fatal stabbing was perpetuated by a group of uninvited guests.
And now time for your COVID-19 update. The Ministry of Health yesterday reported that 4 patients are in the COVID-19 ICU receiving treatment. No new deaths have been recorded, but the ministry noted that 1 new COVID-19 infection was recorded within the last assessed 24 hours, bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 63,195. Of the confirmed cases, 34,096 are women, while 29,099 are men. 12 persons are in institutional isolation, 128 in home isolation, and 8 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 61,829 individuals have recovered from the virus.
And now we head over to the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News, dedicated to being blunt. It is too early for us to let down our guard as it relates to COVID-19. That much should be made clear and stated fearlessly, since all of us are endangered. But that is not the message being preached in these parts these days. Instead, the government, through its esteemed Minister of Health, has seemingly advised citizens to proceed at your own risk. Since assuming office in August of 2020, the government has moved from making vaccination mandatory to now saying the equivalent of you're on your own. Guyanese, it is time that we realize that we really depend we own, and not to expect anything from the government. It is time for all citizens of this land to understand how things are and where they stand and start fighting for what's yours today. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
It is now 12 hours 19. We now return to the rebroadcast of the Glenn Lal Show.
To learn about the country's experiences in the oil and gas sector, with particular reference to local content and participation, legal framework and general best practices in the exploration and drilling of oil. And they agreed to share practical ideas in the oil sector. Ta-da! I wonder if we Vice President tell the Ghana Vice President that Guyana didn't check and verify 3 field development projects in which we have a bill of 20 billion American dollars. I wonder if we tell the Ghana Vice President that Guyana is pumping oil 3 years now and Guyana does not have full cover insurance. I wonder if we tell the man that Guyana doesn't know the interest rate we are paying on a 40 billion US dollar loan Exxon have out there. I wonder if we tell the Ghana Vice President that Guyana doesn't know how the 50-50 profit sharing, the robbery sharing is being calculated and how the loans and expenses are being deducted. I wonder if we tell the man that all the local content what Guyana is supposed to have, the oil companies take them all over. I wonder if we tell them that the oil companies ain't paying a single taxes to Guyana. He and his team will come back and Guyana will become worse than Ghana after this oil is done with all the experience he been there to learn. And let me tell you this, uncle, including Jack Dale, you don't have to go to Ghana, Nigeria, Norway, or any other countries to get experiences of what took place there with their oil sector, their oil industry. It is staring every mankind in their face in the world as to what has happened to most of the oil producing countries in the African, Asian, and Arabian continent.